So I'm Erica Farrell. I'm the Senior Clinical Manager at the Alzheimer's Association Washington State Chapter. So currently, more than 6 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease, and the majority are age 65 and older. There's approximately 200,000 people that are living with what's called younger onset Alzheimer's disease, where symptoms develop before the age of 65. So age is the greatest known risk factor in developing Alzheimer's disease. But while age increases risk, it's important to know that it's not the direct cause of Alzheimer's disease, and this disease is not a normal part of aging. So after the age of 65, the risk of Alzheimer's doubles every 5 years, and the percentage of people with Alzheimer's dementia increases dramatically with age. So 5% of people age 65 to 74 are living with the disease, 13% of people age 75 to 84, and then just about a third, or 33% of people age 85 and older are living with Alzheimer's dementia. The process of seeking a diagnosis can look different for everyone. Typically, a person or their loved one starts to notice some changes in cognitive functioning. And when we're talking about Alzheimer's disease, we're talking about changes in thinking, learning, and memory that disrupt daily life. And again, this isn't a normal part of aging. You might start to notice that the person is having more difficulty completing familiar tasks, like they've always balanced a checkbook every month and had no problems, but now they're starting to. Or maybe they're forgetting the rules of a favorite game they always play. They might start withdrawing from social activities that they've previously enjoyed, like getting together with friends for lunch or playing a bridge game. Some people experience changes in mood and personality. So you might notice that your loved one has started to become a bit more suspicious or depressed or anxious, or generally they become upset when they're out of their comfort zone. You might start to notice that when they misplace something, like their wallet, they have a harder time retracing their steps to find it again. Some people become confused with time and place and have decreased or poor judgment. So you may notice that they start to have poor judgment around dealing with money, or that maybe they're paying less attention to grooming. People may have challenges with activities that require planning and problem solving. So any activities that have multiple steps may become more difficult. And a person might also experience issues with words and speaking and writing. So not everyone experiences all of these symptoms, but even if a person is just experiencing a couple of them, it could mean that there's something else going on and it's time to talk with the doctor. So in these early stages, people living with Alzheimer's usually do have an awareness of their deficits. They have a sense that something feels off. So if you can just imagine that for a minute, you're an adult, you've lived your whole adult life independently. Maybe you've raised a family, have children and grandchildren, you've worked your whole life, and then you start to notice and experience, some of these warning signs. It can be very scary. And some people experience denial in these early stages when they aren't ready to face it. So emotionally, people may be experiencing fear, fear of the future, fear of what to expect, fear of forgetting their loved ones or forgetting who they are and what that means. So there may be anticipatory grief that they're experiencing over future losses that are coming with this disease and diagnosis. So it's not uncommon for people to experience depression in the early stages of this disease. So your primary care doctor can diagnose Alzheimer's, though not all of them will, and some may refer you to a specialist like a neurologist or a neuropsychologist for further testing to confirm a diagnosis. For family and friends, I would say that one of the first things you can do to support your loved one is to become educated. The Alzheimer's Association offers free dementia education on various topics, and people can call our 24/7 helpline that's available around the clock to learn more about the resources and supports that are available, to learn more about the disease itself, the stages and what to expect, and about communication. Communication becomes more challenging as the disease progresses, and it's also very essential in successful caregiving. Also, it can seem daunting to discuss the future and what's to come after a diagnosis. I don't think anybody looks forward to that conversation. And have these conversations about future planning early with your loved one while they're still able to participate and communicate their wishes. And in these conversations, provide them with reassurance. Let them know that you're going to be there. You're going to be there to support them through this disease. As a friend or neighbor, after you've learned more about the disease, your time can be a valuable gift. Can you commit a few hours every month to helping out with errands or chores? Can you spend time with the person living with dementia so that the caregiver can have a few hours to themselves? Your gift of time can make a big difference to the caregiver and can be a great support to people. And if you have time, consider becoming an advocate, a community educator, a support group leader to help raise awareness about the disease and how to support people living with it in your community. Your time can really be a huge gift. It is really important that family caregivers build time into their routine for themselves. And for some people, this might feel like an impossible task. You are stretched so thin, there's always a task or chore that needs to get done, and your loved one needs support and supervision around the clock. So if you're a caregiver and this is the case for you, try to identify small things that you can incorporate. Even stepping away for 5 minutes to do a short breathing exercise or meditation exercise, finding a quiet spot and just taking a few minutes to let yourself be fully present. It can start just there. We know that research tells us that these types of activities can have a powerful impact on us physiologically and can help to reduce stress. So start small and then build back into the routine, the morning walk with the dog that you used to enjoy solo and the water aerobics class that used to relieve stress that you enjoyed, getting together with friends for lunch. It might take you a little time to build some of those activities back in, and it's so important that you do. And know that it's really important that you take care of yourself. This is not selfish, it's essential. Ask for support from friends and family too, and engage in formal respite support as you need to. And if you don't even know what that means, or if you're not sure where to start, please give us a call. Again, our 24/7 helpline is there for you. We have specialists and master's level clinicians that can help you to formulate an action plan and support you with resources for that plan. That's a really great question. The Alzheimer's Association is currently funding longitudinal research. It's called the US Pointer Study, which is looking at exactly this. It's looking at the impact of various lifestyle interventions and the impact that those have on cognition and dementia progression. And the research does indicate that a person who eats healthy, exercises regularly, gets sufficient sleep, doesn't smoke, challenges their brain to learn new things, maintains social connections. If you're doing these things, you're reducing your risk for developing dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And we do believe that the research that we're currently undertaking will show that you perhaps also can slow the progression if you do already have the disease. As we know, there's no cure right now, but these things we do think are protective, and it's why we're doing the research, so that we can also say that you're going to help to slow the progression if you can follow this guidance. Those are the activities that really are the best things that we have to reduce our risk and potentially to slow down the progression. And we hope to have more. We hope to know more with more research and more funding for research. One of our big resources we want everybody to know about is our 24/7 helpline. It's available around the clock, so you can call anytime, day or night, 2 or 3 in the morning, and you'll speak with a live person who's going to understand what you're going through and will be able to guide you to resources or connect you with a care consultant. We have care consultants at the helpline who are master's level clinicians, and so they can help you with future care planning and, again, kind of set you up with some guidance for those next steps that you're currently kind of seeking some help with. We also have a number of different support groups locally. We have some specialty groups. A lot of these are for caregivers, but some specialty groups, for example, adult children caring for their parents. We have an LGBTQ support group and a number of others that are more of the specialty groups. And they're such an excellent place for caregivers, not only to hear from others and learn more about other people and their experiences, what's worked, what hasn't, but also I always like to remind caregivers that they are experts too. And so, by participating in a support group, you can also be helping somebody else out and contributing to somebody else, kind of getting some support that they need. We also have a really robust education program. So a lot of free education that we have, mostly on Zoom right now, though we're bringing some of that back to in-person in community on various dementia topics, from the basics of Alzheimer's and knowing the 10 signs to 3-part series on living with Alzheimer's and caregiving. And then in addition to that, we do have some online tools. One of them is called Alz Connected, and this is an online support forum. And so sometimes support groups, maybe the timing doesn't work out, or maybe a person isn't exactly comfortable, but they're pretty comfortable online. That's a great place for those caregivers who are comfortable online, who want to go and plug in, ask a question, answer a question, and get support from others who are on that portal. And we also have what's called the Community Resource Finder. This is something our helpline uses, but it's also a public-facing tool so that anybody can go online, Just type in Community Resource Finder, ALZ, and it should pop right up. You can find in your own community different resources using this tool. So if you need a list of geriatricians in your area, a list of assisted living facilities, in-home care providers, that's a great tool for that. And we also have what's called an ALZ Navigator tool. And this is, for folks who, again, maybe calling the helpline isn't exactly their thing. They're really comfortable online and they just want to take it upon themselves to identify a plan for themselves. So this tool walks people through an action plan development and will link resources as well. So a person can walk away with an action plan to take forward. So those are just a few of our programs and services that we offer and want folks to know about for sure.